It is getting windy out here. We are now down to about 50 kilowatts at 80%. We're at 82% state of charge. I think it's time we unplug, head to Gateway, Colorado on a nice little twisty road, maybe sport mode, maybe we'll rip it a little bit. And then it's dirt roads and trails out to Moab. I can't wait. So let's exit this screen right here. Sometimes it's a little laggy. Come on, screen. You can do it. There you go. Here are the stats. 33 minutes. About 20 bucks. We put in about 63 kilowatt hours, and you can see we're doing roughly 50 kilowatts, which is what we'll get in Moab. So no losses if we leave now. I'm gonna hit stop. Always throws a fault code whenever I hit stop. It goes red. Put this in there. Because we're gonna go on dirt, we'll close that. Man, I love the front end. I know it's polarizing. Some people don't like it. I think it's sweet. Trails. Let's go find some dirt finally in an electric truck. Yes, looks like we're on a great road. I've just knocked us over into sport mode, and let's see how this thing does. Well, first of all, it's crazy freaking fast. I do need to be mindful of our range though, so that was one full throttle, but it's all about momentum when you're trying to rip it. But holy smokes, I gotta turn off the lane thing. When you hit a line, it like rips the steering wheel. I'm not even touching the left side, but it thinks I am. So let's figure out how to do that, and then we should mount up some cameras and talk about how this thing drives in a performance matter, shouldn't we? Oh man, this is gonna be a freaking day. This is going to be one hell of a day. I'm just pulling over here. This is gorgeous. Oh, I'm so happy to be out in one of my favorite places. Okay, so we can go here, settings, vehicle, driver plus. I think I know my way around here pretty well. Lane keep assist, nope. Nudges your steering wheel to alert you to steer back in your lane. I think all else is pretty good. I have the warnings off for lane departure warning, so that shouldn't really actually do anything. And forward collision warning early. Okay, good road. We have to be mindful of range because we only have a 50 kilowatt charger and we're in a rush, but let's put stability control, reduced, sport mode, lowest ride, stiffest suspension, hardcore mode. You can go full off on traction control. We'll see if it gets in the way, but again, we need to be mindful of range, so I don't think I'm really going to be shredding it, but I figured this is the first time I've had the truck really on a dry back road. Well, it's bumpy, first of all, because in sport mode, everything gets stiff when you have that selected. I have climate control, just bringing in fresh air. The motors sounds so good. I'm not going to go wide open throttle just to preserve some juice, but let's just hustle it through here. Wow. And we're on the 34-inch all-terrain tires and just maintaining great speed through here. It is amazing that this truck can handle so well, and I'll give you some examples as to why. Well, first of all, it has 4 motors, and the 4 motors are really important because it can send power individually to each of the wheels. Now, this is something I think they can and probably should improve on over time through software to give it more of a feeling of torque vectoring, improve on their motor calibration, but I think it's, well, the motors are calibrated really well, but in terms of their drivetrain, where the power is going, I think they could do a little bit more with that. The steering is amazing. I have never felt steering like this in a pickup truck, let alone any sort of high-riding vehicle, especially one with 34-inch tires. I mean, we're on some big all-terrain Pirelli Scorpion, their electric and their Rivian OE tire, and it's good. Wow, you can see the ride is really quite aggressive, actually. I think what I'm going to do is see if I can adjust the ride to one up from the lowest, just to give us some suspension travel. I actually don't mind the dampers and stiff. Usually I like a pretty soft damper, but it's still not like crazy hardcore, this thing, but it is, yeah, it's seemingly riding better, one up from low. Here's some bumps. Yeah, much better. Still bumpy, but much, much better. And then it has the craziest suspension ever. Essentially what it has is a hydraulic linkage between the left and right sides of the vehicle. There's no metal sway bars, so your entire suspension and sway force and roll stiffness is infinitely variable. You know, just to have variable roll stiffness is insane. The technology is not necessarily brand new, but it's the first time I've ever heard of it in a pickup truck, and it makes it so when you're cruising down the road in all-purpose in sort of standard mode, it doesn't necessarily waft, it doesn't do the Range Rover thing, but it just cruises so comfortably, no one would ever complain. It's really impressive, and it doesn't have any of the shimmy or weird stuff that any pickup truck has. It's a very grown-up handling characteristic. Look at this thing just cruising through. And then when you stuff it into a corner like that at pretty high speed, into, you know, a pretty sharp corner, it can basically ramp up the hydraulics, and there's lines. So you have a hydraulic line from compression to rebound, and from rebound to yeah, basically inverted on both sides. Compression, rebound, upside down. And then the reason for this is you can actually variably control your roll stiffness with hydraulics. So that's one component. The second component is you have an active damper, which we can set the ride from stiff to soft. Let's try soft a little bit, see if that just lets the suspension work even more to soak up these bumps, and we'll see how the roll stability is. That might be the move, is to go soft suspension sport mode on a back road like this that's kind of flowing. It's not like we're on the Dragon or something crazy, and we're definitely not pushing it at like racetrack speeds, of course. And then it has air, of course, so you have a height component, and then of course if it's aired all the way out, the suspension can't work that much, and if it's aired all the way up, there's a lot of pressure in there, so it doesn't actually ride that smooth. But I would say from high to low, not highest or lowest, there's highest, high, standard, low, lowest. So if you just remove the outer ones, you go from high to low, it rides great in all of those modes. And wow, it is just gorgeous out here. So let's just try and hammer one corner here. So let's go foot down, just see how this thing feels. Kind of really chucking it in. Whoa, even power on rotation on the way out. That was a freaking huge number on corner exit. And we're not even on the sport wheels and tires. This is on, we're gonna go off-roading on these tires. Whoa, whoa. This is the best way to start a day. I really need to be mindful of range though. So electric cars, this is what bothers me about them. You guys know I love EVs, I've been driving them forever. Whenever I find myself on a good road, it's always in the middle of nowhere, and I'm always like, I need to be mindful of range because of XYZ. Now that happens in a combustion car. When you drive a combustion car hard, you can get 3-4 miles to the gallon, and you're like, wow, I only have a 100-mile range. But in EV, it's like, we only have a 50 kilowatt charger, and there's one of them in Moab, and if that doesn't work, or we have to sit there for a while, we literally will not make it to our appointment. At least with a fueled car, you can just zzz, and then go, and it's like a 5-minute delay. This is like, if we hammer this road, it could cost us an hour. Yeah, well, maybe not that much. We probably wouldn't burn an extra 50 kilowatt hours. Depends on how hard we drive though. Anyway, we're gonna just kind of keep the momentum going kind of at this pace. I really like the settings I have the car in here, which is sport mode. Really love when you get on the power in sport mode, it juices the rear and lets you have some rotation on corner exit. It also, like, when you get into a corner on regen, like the back end is like coming around, like you get really good corner entry. It's all like, if I was to describe the handling dynamics of this vehicle, you would never think pickup truck. You would think like fast hatchback or wagon or something like that, and it's really truly insane. We're going by some great trails here too. Wow, we are so lucky to live in this wonderful place. So that means eventually when we get a Rivian, I'm pretty much sold. I think we got to get one. We're going to spend a lot of time out here ripping around roads, going off-roading, adventuring with the Sprinter. Should be a blast. Wow, some beautiful trails up through there. Wish we could hit them, but again, range and charging time. And welcome to the Mecca of off-roading. We are in Gateway, Colorado. Everything that way, this is the end of the pavement, is trails, off-roading, adventure, camping, everything we absolutely love, and everything I'm so looking forward to doing in a full electric vehicle. Now, we'll have to come back at some point soon with another Rivian, kitted out with all the off-road gear and everything, because we're actually using this as a shortcut to get over to Moab, although I'm a little bit concerned. Now, thankfully, we have enough range if we can't make it for some reason to make it back to Grand Junction, and that's a very real possibility. You do not want to mess around with the weather out here. You can see a storm system coming in, so these surfaces get extremely slick, extremely goopy in the mud, and of course there's no cell service. So we're going to be very mindful. I'm going to keep the car as is for now, but if it gets pretty hardcore and we actually start hitting trails, I'm going to air it down about 15 psi down from where we are, closer to that 30 psi range. But for general dirt roads, this will be fine. It'll also improve the ride quality if we air down a little bit. But for the most part, let's go. Let's see how it goes. I see some snow up this way. It could get a little spicy, but what's an adventure without a little bit of spiciness, right? So let's go see what we can get ourselves into and hopefully out of, because we literally are in a rush to get to Phoenix. But you know me, I'm just, I see trails and I'm like, oh, gotta go do that. So let's go see if we can make it to Moab as the crow flies. In terms of the drive mode, let's see what kind of off-road modes we have to play around with. Again, just dirt. We could leave it in all-purpose. I think we'll just do it off-road auto, see what it says. We'll put the ride in soft, regen, of course, in high. I think we'll just turn stability control off just in case we need to drift it around a corner and something gets a little spicy out of the blue. Love to have full control over the vehicle, but of course the goal here is not to damage the surface. The thing about electric off-roading that really has an opportunity to leave a mark is exploring the world with the least amount of impact possible, and that means not leaving freaking divots in the dirt, drifting around in drift mode and stuff like that. So I'm all about having fun in the right place, but I'm also about preserving our land best as possible. You guys know we've been out to Moab. We've explained all this before, but look at these guys out camping, which is pretty sweet. Got the happy dog over there. Living the dream. That's so awesome. Oh my God, the dog's so happy. All right, let's go see what we can get ourselves into. They're all looking at the Rivian. I love that. They're all like, whoa. We got to get moving though. We are on a good back road. I've been trying a few different modes here. We don't want to drift, obviously, because we don't want to damage the roads. It's just like a general dirt road, more or less. Nothing too fancy. But I have it in rally mode here, and it's kind of fun to just kind of hammer through. The truck is pretty soft when it gets raised up in these off-road modes. I really like it. You can like hammer it sideways like that. So throttle definitely induces oversteer in rally mode, and also it induces oversteer on corner entry. See, for example, I'll lift off and you can see the back come out when I lift on regen. So it's very, very tail happy, really likes you to kind of fling it around a little bit, which is just freaking awesome. Wow, this is the future. You see, I think the enthusiasm for cars is changing, I guess, from an from a track driving, performance driving, to more adventure focused, going out into the wilderness. So I'm really just freaking enjoying the heck out of this. The nav system does a good job routing. Oh, look at this, pretty muddy. We gotta get up this thing in the mud. All right, come on, Rivy. No problem. Plenty of power left on tap too. This might get a little sketchy, we'll see, but it's just freaking bombing up here without concern up these switchbacks. Full power. Oh, freaking spins out of the corner. It just wants to grab for traction. This is so much fun. What on earth? Come on, baby, rotate. Yes. Ripping it through. Hell yeah. All right, we can't drive it like that the whole time. We wouldn't make it there, but wow, you can dance this thing and just whoop, 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 whoop. It's like cheating, and there's no noise. So you could just come across someone camping, no one's there, but I'm just saying as an example, they would have no idea how fast you're going. Rally mode is awesome. But man, this mud is kind of freaking me out a little bit because I don't want to get stuck. And now we're getting in the snow. Yeah, this might be, definitely want to air down if it's going to be like this for sure. And yeah, definitely want to air down, and definitely don't want to get stuck in this stuff. So this is looking a little spicy. But let's just keep the momentum up. We don't want to fly off any cliffs. Rally mode seems to be the best option here. But man, it's just doing it, no problem. If that's all we have to deal with. I mean, we're pretty much at the peaks right now. So it shouldn't be much worse than this. These tires are pretty good too in the loose stuff. But like, that's a giant cliff, and we do not want to go off of that cliff. So let's just be mindful we don't get stuck in a rut that pulls us off like we kind of are going into. And this is not really a surface I necessarily want to stop on. Nah, this is fine. We're good. We're gonna do it. I think we can make it. This is what a Rivian is all about. Adventure. Man, it is a capable vehicle. Just avoiding some big rocks. This is stunningly gorgeous up here too. Wow. Just got to keep the speeds up, keep the thing moving through here. Thumbs on the outside of the wheel always when you're doing this kind of stuff. Because that can really hurt. Keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times. And now we're just on straight snow. Okay. Well, this could be interesting. Definitely going to air down. Let's find a good place to stop. And I mean, we are on straight snow right here. And the only thing I don't like about this vehicle on snow is it doesn't allow too much wheel spin. All right, time to air down, I would say. I'm just gonna pull right here. Yeah, we're good. We're gonna do this. We're just gonna drop the pressers. That was weird. I put it in park and I think the wheel slid a little bit. I'm gonna park in this landing over here. It should be a little bit better, a little bit safer. Oh, maybe not. There's a little, yeah, there's some dirt up here. Let's do it. Full power. That's where we're gonna go. It's definitely got the torque. Yeah, this is a better spot to stop to air down. Right here with these views, I think I'll park the Rivian here and get a pretty cool shot of it right on the cliff's edge. Whoa, this is so sick. So I got the hose connected into the compressor. This is the coolest thing, isn't it? So let's set the pressures to 30 PSI. Wow, look at that view. We're just coming up this awesome area. It's amazing. 30 PSI sounds good to me. Let's do that. Okay, this is interesting. This is just a compressor, not a deflator. So I think we have to manually deflate, which shouldn't be an issue. I wish I had my gauge with me. But we can do it the manual way. This is why you come out here to take the path less traveled. Absolutely beautiful, a little muddy. The truck just doesn't care. It freaking goes through. You can feel the weight though. It is heavy. So just need to be mindful of that. Once you get on a course, it's kind of hard to correct it. And still figuring out the off-road modes to figure out which one is best. I'm really liking Rally because it prioritizes rear axle first and then seems to feed in the front for traction. So I can get the car angled where I want, and then the front helps pull me out. And nothing too crazy, just lots of mud and slush and dirt, and I think it looks great covered in mud. But obviously we're just going to keep going down this road, and I see a few fresh tracks, so I feel pretty comfortable that there's at least people out here today, and I have cell service, which is great. So always good. The best off-road plan is always to have a buddy with you to pull you out, but we're kind of going solo, and that's all right. Just adds to the adventure to me. And I think yeah, we'll see if we run into anything impassable, but we're going to keep pressing on. You join me now for a little bit of a mud blast. Here we go. So freaking awesome. We're at JB Ranch. Anyway, cruising through, loving it. It's definitely, now that the tire pressures are all adjusted properly, this thing feels unstoppable, but I won't say that too loudly. Knock on Rivian wood. Just keeping the momentum up, really enjoying it. Let's wash the windshield a little bit. Wow, it is gorgeous up here, isn't it? And the tires just show low. I mean, I got them pretty aired out, but we were in some crazy freaking mud like this. Look at this. This is like no joke. Legit mud, ice, slush. Gosh, you just don't want to get a freaking 7,000 pound Rivian stuck. I don't know exactly how much it weighs. I think it's right around there. I know it's a lot, obviously. It's got a 135 kilowatt hour battery pack. So just continuing on, we're going to head over this way, it looks like. Yeah, do a little switchback loop. And this is just straight, literal mud. Look, just got to keep it motoring. All the tires, yeah, so they're all set at 30 PSI. The back left is 32. I ran the compressor a little extra by accident, but that's okay. I think everything feels good to me at 30 in these conditions. Wow. This is so freaking awesome. And I wish there was like a mud mode that allowed for a little bit more wheel slip, but we can counteract that with just speed. The only thing that really freaks me out is stuff like this off camber, that it's like, okay, let's not go off a cliff when we hit a rut, you know? So just gotta keep it up and moving. Yep, just gotta keep it motoring. Oh yes, just keep the speed moving. This is treacherous stuff here. I mean, if we had another vehicle, I'd feel more comfortable, but we do not. Just stay on the power. Dang. Oh yeah, whoa, gnarly. Just gotta stay in it. This is no joke. I mean, we're legit straight in mud. And the thing just doesn't care. It loves it. It absolutely is eating this up. One thing I'm sure you guys are wondering is efficiency. Me too. All right, let me just stop here before we get into deep mud. The views. All right, let's go here, reset trip B, and let's just drive it and see what kind of conditions we get in mud, snow, slush. We're at 50% state of charge, 126 miles projected based on rally mode. So it thinks we have pretty good range. I'm going to kick the climate on, but I'm going to keep conditioning off. I'm just going to have it bring in cool air. And I'm also going to turn the brightness up on the screen to full. All right, let's do it. Lay into it. We want to avoid wheel spin. We don't want to leave ruts anywhere. We just want to kind of get through this stuff. Oh yeah. And just keep it motoring. We don't want to pull a tire off a wheel. It's all about gentle, smooth momentum here is the trick to sort of these mud rut driving. But the Rivian, the weight actually helps once, you know, on this flat ground like this. And it just feels like it could go through just about anything. Anyway, I'll update you if anything interesting happens, but we should be about 47 miles away from Moab. So we have 50 miles of this pretty hardcore stuff to get there. And pretty soon I think we're going to be reaching the point where we won't be able to make it back to Glenwood or Grand Junction. I keep getting them mixed up. So there's only one way to go, and that is onwards. Hardcore. Big mud puddle. Oh crap. Oh, windshield wipers. All right, this is wonderful. I could do this all day. Part of the fun of off-road is kind of gauging the risk level of continuing on, and I'm just standing in a spot where others have turned around. I can see their dig marks pulling cars out, and the Rivian's still going without issue, but I worry going up this way, no trails. There's one little side-by-side that's gone up there. I don't see any trails coming back, and it is pretty deep snow. We're getting into probably foot and a half. You know, you can see these pretty deep ruts like this right here. Someone definitely got their car stuck. And I think, you know, sometimes it's best to know when to play it safe and turn around. And unfortunately, you know, this was a fun gamble to see if we could take the shortcut and hit some trails. And I'm hugely impressed with the truck. And obviously it's not stuck here. And I just worry, you know, I just pushed it into some deep snow right up there in the corner just to, you know, push it, see if how it feels. And I gave it some throttle and it just sunk down a little bit. So it's not stuck. It's just like, if we do go off, there's no recovery. If there was another Rivian with us, if there was two cars, I would say without question, we're good. Because if the lead car gets stuck, the one behind us could pull us off. I am just out here by myself, and that's a pretty aggressive trail, and it's like 20 miles until the next trail that I think would be populated. So not so sure I'm ready to go 20 miles deep in the woods without gear. And so I think we have to eat our losses. We have to say, hey, we're not going to make it to Phoenix in time today. Let's turn around, head back on the beautiful trails on the way back. Really gorgeous trails. We'll air up the tires, and then we got to rip on the highways down to Phoenix. I think that's our best option at this point. But the Rivian looks great. It's been performing wonderfully. And again, if there was another truck, I would feel more comfortable. But man, getting stuck out here, there's no hope of savior. We'd be living here, and I don't even have the tent on this thing. So I say we bust a U-turn. I'll back it up onto this ridge over here, and then we should be good to get going. Now we have to do something kind of aggressive to get this thing turned around in this deep snow. First of all, it's moving just fine. Secondly, let's see if we can set our ride height to high is all we can do in rally mode. I like rally because we get wheel spin. All right, so let's see how we're going to basically maneuver this thing around, because what I don't want to have happen is us to go sink in, because that would suck massively. I think I'm going to go max ground clearance. There's no point back there to turn around. This is our best option. I think what I'm going to do is go max ground clearance and kind of back it up onto this ledge here. So let's try that. Auto, turn off stability, highest ride height, 15 inches. All right. And now the cameras are going to come in clutch because I don't have a spotter and I don't want to put us into anything too soft. So we're just gently inching, because if I feel the car, you know, drop through the snow basically, then we're going to have to cut it. So let's just at least get us onto the dirt here. Here we are, flexed out onto the dirt. Yep, good, good. Okay. Let's just Austin Powers it. Let's pull up the cameras. Cameras. Okay. Whoa, brakes are touchy. Okay, all right. Little reverse action. Come on, baby, grip. And we're home free. Wow, the flex on this thing is incredible. The suspension articulation. We didn't even lift a wheel and we were like loaded up. That's impressive. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is go back to rally, turn off stability, and go to high ride height. And we got a bomb to get out of here because this is pretty deep snow. I was booking it through. So we're on just the last dirt path, so dang. So we need to go back to, we do have cell service here actually, which is kind of cool. So let's go to Gateway, Colorado, because I think that's our best option, is to go back up the 141 to here. And then we got to go all the way back to Grand Junction, probably charge, and then all the way around. I don't really think there's another option. Dang. Anyway, we tried. Check out that view. It's worth it to get out into nature, isn't it? That is beautiful. Entering historic uranium mining area. Beware of open shafts, tunnel, and mine workings contain radioactive radon gas. Stay on existing road. Pretty sweet. Also, I do want to mention that these doors are double sealed like a Range Rover. So when you get out, or maybe they're single sealed, but they're sealed down here at the bottom, so your pant leg doesn't get dirty getting in and out of the truck, even though it's covered in mud. That is intuitive engineering. Actually, it is double sealed. Look, you got this seal and this one down here. Sweet. And now you join us back where we started this off-road adventure, where I was telling you we have to take the road less traveled and always push it and go find cool places. Well, at least we tried, and unfortunately, sort of backfired. Amazing echoes off these canyon walls here. I'm going to air up the tires, so let me show you how that process works. I know a lot of the Rivian guys were asking if the air compressor could actually fill them up. All four. It's warming up here. I think it's a smart move that we turned around. The snow, even on the way back, was melting more, and yeah, it was hardcore muddy. I was like rally mode, wide open, like trying to get out of there. So I think we got lucky. All right, so let's fill up these tires, and then we got to literally hammer it to Phoenix. Or we'll stop in Moab and do some more trails, and I'll say, screw tonight. We'll see. So I really love this truck with the tire pressures at about 31, 32 PSI. I think it just drives so smooth. It's so much fun to toss around, but it's not like the tires are critically low in air where they can't support the weight. So in rally mode, you can really hammer it out of corners, and man, this is, it's like a WRC car. I mean, look, it's not that hardcore, but when you describe the way that it gets in and out of corners, at least for me, I'm like, wow, this is truly something extraordinary. Never experienced anything like it. So we're on, locked. Let's see how this air compressor works, shall we? So we're going to go to 48 PSI. I think 49. It actually reads a little bit under in my experience. So let's set it to 49. Tire 1. Makes a good noise, that's for sure. Man, this truck looks so freaking cool, doesn't it? And these views. Oh my goodness, the views. I love it here. Yep, this is the spot. Couldn't imagine living anywhere else. Honestly, couldn't imagine another truck too. This is so cool. And you know what? It's just silent. I mean, you hear a lot of things rattling around, you hear noise and stuff, but that's just because I've loaded the truck with a whole bunch of crap. But like, it is really special going off-road. Yeah, I love it in silence. So it ran, it paused, it let the pressure drop to check, and now it's basically walking its way up there. So let's see if I can show you again. You can see it's 51, 52, 53, even though we've only selected 49. So there we go, 44, and I guess it's just walking its way up there. Yep. So that's pretty neat that it's checking pressures as it fills. Wow, that makes life so easy having that built in. I wonder how it'll do. You can see the flex on that tire there, right? You can see why it's important to air down so the tire can work and grip the surface. And now we're bumping them back up for range and high-speed stability and also tire wear. So I've been doing a lot of thinking about how cool it is to drive around in silence out here and the capabilities of this truck. And I think one of my main concerns is range out here in the open. I mean, the problem is a lot of the chargers out in the middle of nowhere here are slow, and a lot of them don't work, or like there's just one charger in Moab and it's a 50 kilowatt. And I think it would be worthwhile and beneficial if you could order a Rivian with the max pack, with the big 180 kilowatt hour pack. And that way you can just carry as much energy with you as possible. I know it's heavier, I know it's gonna handle worse, but that's probably what I would do. So it sounds like it's just stopped here, and it says, yep, 48, 49 PSI. So there's tire number 1. Let's get it going. Tire number 2, stress test of the air system. I love this hose. It's a nice hose, very high quality that comes with the vehicle. This is totally the way to do it. Just going through here, and it reaches all 4 wheels and tires, even with the tonneau cover closed. By the way, the bed did get a little dusty, just to show you. So you can see in here, yep, even with the tonneau closed and this, it's not dust proofed. This seal isn't that hardcore. To be expected, I guess. Well, there you have it. In about, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes time, something like that. Yeah, takes a little while, but hey, this compressor is sweet. Didn't overheat, got the pressures exactly where I wanted them, and absolutely loved it. Did a pretty good job. So let's head out. Was just finishing up airing these tires up, and a nice family rolled up here, and apparently they're Rivian reservation holders, and so they're taking a look at the truck. How about that? Just at the bottom of the trail, and ran into some Rivian folks. That's awesome. What do you think of it so far?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
That's so sweet. Here, I'll pop this.
I was wondering how much room would be in the back, but the back, I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
No problem.
No, it's very comfortable in the back. The seats are good.
Holy cow. Where's the motor? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it has 4 motors.
That's interesting.
All of them, each wheel has a motor. I'm Brad.
Brad.
And I'm Jim.
I'm Jessica.
Jim and Jessica. Cool. Hey
you
guys.
are?
I'm Kyle.
Kyle.
Sorry.
Thanks,
so
Kyle.
I'll put it in sport mode and give
Look at
you,
this.
you know, like every EV's party trick is obviously the acceleration, right? So there's some pavement over here, so we'll head over there. It's dropping us all the way down. All right, you guys ready for this? All right, 3, 2, 1.
Holy cow! Oh my gosh!
So that's like the best thing to do when you have a new EV experience.
Yeah. Holy cow!
Was not expecting
You gotta
that.
be kidding me! It really, you can't have the sun. It really blocks that
No,
out.
I'm loving
This you can't adjust though, right?
Nope,
not
it's
the
fixed.
tint is,
Yep. Sorry for like the dirtiness in here.
Are you kidding me? I can't thank you enough. I
Oh, yeah, of
appreciate
course.
it, cuz. This is awesome.
No problem. Well, how funny was it? The only car I saw, literally, they were all Rivian fans. They loved it. Took them for a ride. Super nice people. They actually live near us. They're in Boulder. We live in Fort Collins. So super great to meet those folks, and hopefully they get to see this bit of the video, and glad that we were able to show them the Rivian. What an absolute blast this thing was out on the trails, and I'm not complaining that we have to drive this great road again. What's most impressive to me is we literally were just hammering it out on some great trails, and here we are in sport mode, freaking shredding it. And thumbs up from that guy. Everyone loves the Rivian, and it's impressive across so many areas because in terms of its sporting credentials, like you saw earlier, I mean, I am showing this thing no mercy. We are legit hardcore hammering it right now, wide open throttle runs, and it pulls harder and harder all the way to its top speed. There is some wind noise over there though. Wow, I got the ride in soft, but we're in lowest. I think, what did I say? Low felt best on the back road, right? So that's how we're gonna drive this thing. Soft ride, low suspension, regen in high, stability control off. I think above 80 miles an hour, it doesn't let you adjust. I think it's 80, let's check. 79, 80, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 85. It doesn't let you adjust any of this screen stuff, which I think is a real shame. Oh, what a freaking ripper this thing is. Absolute machine on so many levels. Hammering back to wherever we're trying to get to, the charger, 46 miles. Be there at 1 o'clock. I think it's like a 10-hour drive with charging, so not the end of the world, but we're definitely gonna miss dinner. Well, didn't it say we were gonna get here after 1 o'clock? And well, it's 12:37. So the fans are running hard because we ripped on this thing. So it cannot feel my finger here because I guess it's covered in mud. So let's open it manually. I can just do that by going here, muting the audio, going this one, open charge port. And so I'm here at 150 kilowatt, nice XC40 recharge here too. Here at 150 kilowatt because I think it's not gonna make a difference with these chargers with the 350 amp limitation like those right over there. So yeah, plugged in, let's see what we get. We are plugging in with 19% state of charge. We lost a lot of elevation on the way into town and we are juicing up. I'm glad we were able to make it back. This all worked out really, really well. Let's see what it does. My guess is that 140 number again. Yep, kind of right around there. It's 350 amps at pack voltage is what it's doing. And we just need to be mindful because I pulled here where this truck is and I just don't want him to hit me, but I wanted to try a 150. I guess I could have gone to the Chatamo spot. So I'm just gonna hang out here with the truck because when this dude comes back, I'll be like, hey, I'm just gonna unplug and move and get out of the way so you don't take the back end of this Rivian out. Just gonna move the Rivian out of the way for this truck here. We're still doing 150 kilowatts at 50%. So, you know, same current request, just as pack voltage increases, we're getting more and more power. Cooling fans have been on most of the time, of course, but it hasn't seemed to taper charging because of it. So I'm just gonna move over a couple spots and now that sensor's working again. That way this truck can get out here. So I moved the truck to here, but then I couldn't activate this charger from the app. It just said unavailable. Here it says it's ready, so I'm not sure. Anyway, I plugged in. A great couple in an Ioniq 5 rolled up, and a Bolt owner. Had great conversations with them, all really happy, excited EV owners. And, well, we are just almost done charging. As soon as it dips just above 80%, it seems to kick down to about 50 kilowatts. So this is our plan. We're going to go over. We'll probably charge here in Moab. There's a couple chargers along this route. And then, yeah, this stretch is going to be an interesting one, but I think we can do it. And we should be there probably by midnight with charging would be my guess. Well, we have just tapered at 83%, so let's head out to Moab and get this thing charging down that way. Again, the reason we're doing deep charges here for Moab is that charger can't output anything more than this, so may as well get the faster juice here while we can. So just unplugging, and off we go then. And good thing we close this. Although, look, the port's staying really quite dry. And look, we've had mud splashing up on this thing. I'm pretty impressed as to that sealing capability there. Welcome to Moab, one of the best places on the planet, one of my favorite places on the planet. Now, you may think it's kind of cool that the Rivian's covered in mud, and well, you know, judging by what we've done with it, I think it's to be understandable. But, you know, my whole thing is like, if the mud's in the trail, leave the mud there. So obviously we were going up, you know, melted snow, nothing we can do, but it might look cool to you, but to a lot of locals, I'm sure this looks like we've just been tearing up the world. And I do want to find a car wash and get all this off eventually. It's not necessarily the coolest thing to leave the car muddy. It's also not the coolest thing to roll up to a charging station, the only DC fast charger in the area, and have a Bolt plugged in. They're at almost 80% state of charge, but perhaps they're going on the same trip we are, Colorado plates, so it shouldn't be too much longer for them to get a full charge here. I think the Bolt has a pretty good top charging rate. So anyway, this is always a concern coming to places like this. Thankfully, there is a level 2 station here, but as you saw from last night, it could be a full day to get enough charge to get to the next station. We'll do some digging and research into that. I'm probably going to walk into town and get some food. I haven't eaten yet today, so I'm pretty hungry, but gotta say, really enjoying my time with the Rivian. I drove it over here. We had huge winds, and I forgot to set the trip computer, so I don't know what it did, but basically we left with 82%, right? So let's take a look at this, but huge winds. So I had it in conserve mode on the highway, but then rolling into town, it looks kind of really stupid when it's slammed, in my opinion. I think it looks dumb, especially in mud with these wheels. So I raised it into all purpose. So, because everyone was looking at it, driving through Moab in a Rivian, right? This is like the craziest thing here. So let's take a look at what we arrived with. So we used about 40% state of charge to get here, and keep in mind I had the cruise control set at 85, which is the maximum. And again, the speedometer reads a little bit over, so it's really like 82, 83 miles an hour is what we were doing. And yeah, aero wise, there's mud and stuff on the truck, so that's not helping, of course. But looking good, hoping this Bolt comes back soon to move so we can plug in. It's only a 50 kilowatt charger, and that's what we have to deal with. And so, yep, that is the case of today, at least So let's take a look at our plan. Got to get some food, of course, but I'm gonna hang out here until we can get it on the fast charger. Well, I waited for about as long as I could. I got pretty hungry, so I don't know. I think we gave it 10 minutes, something like that, for a car that's pretty much fully charged. All right. Anyway, let's head to downtown and get some breakfast. Breakfast, yeah. 3:09 p.m. breakfast. Let's do it. Let's get some food. Run a trail before the sun goes down. We're just got to do it, and then we got to hammer down to Phoenix. Here we go. Let's do this thing. I parked right by the Tesla supercharger. It's such a shame that we can't use it. Cybertruck, baby. Oh yes, some brisket and a view of the superchargers we can't use. By the way, I'm not mad about that. I'm not sure how I feel about other cars using superchargers. Anyway, let's eat some food. Well, that place is just the freaking bomb. That was awesome. Not the place I was thinking I would go. I normally go to this restaurant right over here, but that looked good. And this Bronco looks sick. Look at those lights on the roof. That is so awesome. And these, I love it. Love it. I wish we could use these today, at least. Not when I'm in my Tesla. When I'm in my Tesla, I'm like, you can't charge here. And now I'm like, I want to charge there. I still haven't made up my mind how I feel about that. Let's jump in and continue somewhere, something. I don't know. I think we should get it up and do a trail, don't you? See, that's a Sprinter like we have there. It's a previous generation, but that's the kind of lift I was thinking about getting for ours. Something like that. That's pretty sweet. I'm just rolling up to the recreation area, and already at least 15 people have like gotten out of their cars, come up to see this thing, and everyone's like so interested in the Rivian. So I love that there's excitement about electric off-roading. I have huge excitement for it. I hope Rivian puts their adventure network. Remember we rented one of those? That exact unit. That's the exact unit we rented for a previous out-of-spec motoring video, and we did this exact trail. I think this is what we're gonna do today. Is this should be able to climb that, don't you think? We're gonna get there so late tonight. And welcome out to one of the best places on the planet. We have the Rivian out here. It has taken me like 20 minutes just to get here because everyone has stopped and asked about this thing. What we're gonna do is get a good feel for it. There's a nice little loop. If you guys remember, we actually camped in this exact lot in a previous out-of-spec motoring video right over there. And if you recall, we drove up on this hill and then we went down, there's a little mud pit at the bottom, and then came back out. I think this will be an interesting test to see how it does. And then what I'm gonna do is probably do a full trail for our out-of-spec overlanding channel. I can't promise I have the bandwidth to film all of this, but I'll do my best. But I think we do need to do some Moab wheeling for out-of-spec motoring. It's a little windy, so let's go do this nice little hill climb challenge in rock crawl mode, see how the motors feel, and do this little loop. Should be fun. We were actually not planning to come to Moab. I wasn't planning to come to Moab now. We were going to do all of our off-road tests in Colorado with this thing. The original plan was to come here, so I didn't bring literally any gear. So I'm just going to use the valve stem here just to drop the pressures. Man, literally no gear, no recovery gear. Thankfully, there's a lot of people out here if we do happen to get into an issue, but dropping the pressures for sure. Met some nice guys who are going to film this thing going up. We got the tire pressures down, which is good. Off-road mode, yes. Rock crawl, yes. I think we should put vehicle hold on. Stability control, yeah, we actually want most traction, and ride height maxed out. Cool. So this is rugged terrain, and so let's go. So we have everything set the way we want it. Ride in stiff I think is fine because we don't want to come down on anything. Camera's on, a little muddy, but I can at least see the tires, and that's what matters. So let's go do this without popping a tire. I mean, that's the point of airing down. And here we go, gentle pressures. I'm amazed we're not bottoming this thing out, and we're staring literally straight up a cliff. And let's do it. I can hear the tires spinning a little bit. All right. You just hear them spinning for traction, but it's doing it. Just gentle throttle control. I'm staring straight at the moon, but I can use the cameras here. We are literally on a straight uphill. I mean, I've driven this before in a UTV, never in a truck, and the cameras are proving to be insanely useful and valuable. Really nice. I can hear the inverters going. Literally not a care in the world. That was effortless. Just a little as it figured out where to put the power. Amazing, amazing. And I think that front left tire I need to drop a little bit more, but they were like, we're ready to film. I'm like, all right, let's just go for it. But still a very impressive result here. And literally we're just on this backbone, right, that we're just crawling through, which is the craziest sensation. I can't believe this thing just did that without a care in the world. Electric off-roading, baby. This is the future. Just gentle throttles. I don't think we've even lifted a tire yet, and we've just been crawling on this backbone. Oh my goodness. I gotta get a picture. This is beautiful. Check out the views from up here. Absolutely beautiful. Got the mountains in the back, the cool trail up this way. Just doesn't get any better, and no noise, in total silence. I like the throttle mapping in rock crawl. They really worked on this because it's not sharp. It's nice and progressive and smooth. And because you're bouncing around, especially with your foot above the throttle, it's really important with this much torque that you apply steady throttle. And this certainly does that without question. Wow. It is so beautiful up here. This is just totally, truly, incredibly insane. So many photo opportunities. We've taken some beautiful sunset shots. In the summertime, the sun sets just right over here. So we have the option of right and left. This is way more aggressive than this. So I think we're just gonna walk ourselves straight down this path. And yeah, it should be good. I mean, the camera always makes things look less steep, but this is no joke, especially for such a big and heavy truck. So traction will be key. This thing just looks so sick, doesn't it? Ready for the steep downhill. All right, we're going down. Just going right down this little section here. Don't want to pulse the brakes, just want to ride it. As soon as I feel the front locking, just lift up on the pressure a little bit. Oh my gosh, this is so easy. This is like a 4-year-old could do this. There we go, just lift up a little bit and we're good. Thank you so much for your
Oh yeah, you bet.
And the nice thing is when it's time to air up, all you do is you come over here to your onboard air compressor. We'll dial in street pressures, 48 PSI, and let her go. And we'll do all 4. I wish we could have done more, but the time is crazy. We're already gonna get there by about 1, and if we do any big trails, yeah, well, just wouldn't make it in time. So we'll come back. We will come back. Well, after that fun little excursion, she's aired up, and we gotta hammer it now to Phoenix. So let's waste no more time. We're back in road trip mode. Tire pressures should all be set at 48 PSI. There we go. 47, I think we'll live. Let's do it. For some reason, the Rivian doesn't like Phoenix. It doesn't like to navigate there. It does, I showed you, it loves to navigate anywhere else, but it doesn't like to do route planning. Let's take that as a sign that anything bad's gonna happen. So I guess what we should probably do is just navigate to this charger, this 2. And I believe we actually need to be out of route guidance to click it, which is kind of annoying. So you gotta go and grab the screen before it rotates, click this, and then start. It says 33 miles on arrival, into drive. We'll put it in all-purpose high suspension just because it looks cool for the parking lot to have it in high suspension, and then we'll head out. have arrived in Monticello with 12%. I've just activated this charge point charger, and it's 125 configuration, which means it should give us 200 amps, which should be about 80 kilowatts on plug-in, ramping up to about 90 kilowatts peak. Because again, this is a 400 volt truck. Man, have it in efficiency mode because it was crazy wind. We were battling some gnarly headwinds, and it was just not very efficient. But just absolutely loving this thing. Kind of an interesting installation. You can see they want to have you pull in this way, but then it actually blocks spots. And yeah, this was, I guess we're out in the middle of nowhere. There's plenty of space, but like, it's kind of funny that they just like threw them there. Anyway, let's make sure we're actually charging. It looks like we are. And I guess next stop, not really sure. We have one more charging stop after this, and then a 220 mile stretch from there with headwind, and there's no bailout options. So we're gonna need to run definitely efficiency mode for that and kind of keep the speeds low. But again, this thing did about 290 miles at 70 miles an hour, this exact truck, without the mud on it. So I figured, you know, if we run 70 miles an hour with a headwind, 220 miles shouldn't even be a problem for it. If we do a full charge, maybe we can get away with a 90% charge. We'll kind of feel it out, but at least for here, we're gonna charge up enough to make it to that charger. And yeah, we're doing 70 kilowatts right now. Interesting. It says 69.5 as in it's shared. I've never actually seen that. So it must think it's being shared with this right now. But this is making noise, but it's not actually powering anything. Huh. So I wonder why this one is telling this charger that it's outputting. So anyway, at least we're juicing, but we're only getting 70 kilowatts instead of 80. Not the end of the world. Anyway, I guess I'm gonna get a little bit of work done. We'll figure out where we need to go. And yeah, I'm really behind on work this week because I've just done Rivian testing and I've let everything else go by. Really gotta get some emails out, get some videos edited. Yeah, time to bear down and get through some of this stuff. So here's our plan for the rest of the night. Basically, we're only 47 miles north of the next charger, which is Blanding, I believe. And then from there, it's a 220 mile stretch to Flagstaff. Then we'll be in Phoenix. That only has one charge point CPE 250 and definitely would be a 50 kilowatt or 62 and a half. Here, at least we're getting 67. So anyway, basically it makes no difference whether we charge here or at the one down there. We're already charging. It's actually free, which is pretty nice. So thanks to the state of Utah for paying for our charging. This video is brought to you by the state of Utah. No, I'm joking. Anyway, we're going to juice this thing up. Definitely needs a bath. And, I guess once it tapers off of where it is, then we'll just go to the next charger and fill it up enough to make it to Flagstaff. So it's a nice town here, nice day. We'll just sit here, charge up. I'm gonna, again, just continue working. We're at about 30% state of charge. Probably be here for another hour 15. That's just what you get at these slower chargers. So we'll hang out, get some work done, and see you soon when we're pulling out. The R1T actually has a built-in hotspot. So I've connected. Let's just see what kind of speeds we get. I know it's obviously just cell network, but I'm curious. In the middle of this little town, I believe Monticello, Utah, 25 megabits per second, 26, 27, whoa, 30. I'm sure when we're in like a major metropolitan area with 5G, it'd be faster, but this is pretty sweet. Love this functionality, by the way. This is awesome. Should use this for live streaming. And right on cue at 82%, we've tapered down to 51 kilowatts. That's our cue to get out of here, charge up at the next charger. We hopefully don't have to wait too long just to charge up maybe 80, 90%, and then we'll be off out of the long stretches. This is gonna be the hardest stretch of the trip, just because there's no bailout option. So just need to pull out all the out of spec stuff, but this thing's got great range. Just throw it in conserve mode and man, it is raining though, so that should wash off some mud. That'll be great. All right, well, I'm gonna jump out 41 degrees and raining, chilly, unplug us 83%. You can see all the stats right here and completely free charging. How about that? Pretty neat. And a cat. Hello, kitty. I promise they're not coming after us. Welcome to Bluff, Utah. There we go. This is the oddest charging station I've ever been to. Very odd. It's on this little offshoot of a road. Never seen anything like this before. And then there's like no room to park. Look, I'm taking up the entire roadway parking. I'm trying to figure out how to park. I guess the theory is you would nose up and stuff it against the fence. But then why is this pillar so far away? I don't know. Anyway, I actually came past, made a U-turn, pulled up because the charging port's on this side. So pretty interesting. Let's get this thing charging. 125 kilowatts shared. Nice. I thought this was going to be a 50. Either way, it looks like we didn't waste any time. Unless this gives us the full 80, then maybe we did. And in we go here. 3, 2, 1. Nope. It's not loving the machining of that. Sometimes these CCS handles don't. Gotta really slide it in. Sometimes they're not machined perfectly. Okay, what is there to do around here? There's a Department of Transportation building, and there's a Cottonwood Steakhouse. That looks pretty dang good. Indoor-outdoor dining. Too bad we already just ate in Moab only an hour ago. And there's a motel. This is one of those odd desert towns that always has a very eerie vibe to it. It's nice, but I don't know. It always kind of weirds me out a little bit. Anywho, why aren't we charging? Oh, no. Uh-oh. Okay. I'll pull up and try that one. Still not coming for us. Good news. We've plugged in, and it says in use. And it's going green. Yeah, not sure what was going on with that charger. But now we're just kind of sitting in the middle of the road. Charging stations out in the West are so weird because it's such an unpopulated section of the country. You need chargers to get around. And thanks to the state of Utah for seriously putting chargers in on routes that were needed. If these two chargers weren't here, it would not be possible to get to Arizona. So I'm very thankful for it. And there's not much you can do. It's not like there's much around here, but it certainly brings up the topic of charging station safety to me, which is something that I think is going to become more prevalent over time. You see, let's say we're sitting in the Rivian. I don't want to paint a bad picture. I'm not here to make EVs look bad, but it's something I think about. It's middle of the night. We have a very expensive truck. We're hooked up to the charger. There's no way I can have like an emergency release to like drive away. And like, I don't know. I think about my mom or Alyssa or someone just like sitting here at a charger and there's nowhere you can go. Nothing you can do. You're just a sitting duck basically. Anyway, thankfully it hasn't really seemed to be an issue so far, but I do think it's something where we need like an ejecto seat cuz that just like pops the charging handle out and you can run away. But the problem is, of course, people would just do that and leave charging handles on the ground, and that wouldn't be so cool. So I guess we'll just sit in the truck until we have enough range to make it to Flagstaff. And I believe there's a huge climb going into Flagstaff. Flagstaff is at high elevation. So we need to be mindful of all this. Thankfully, that weather cleared, and that was one hell of a beautiful sunset on the drive over here. I love desert sunsets. This is one of my favorite areas of the country for views on views. It's just amazing. Charging up here, definitely faster than the last charger. The other one was limited to 67, 68 kilowatts. Well, 69.5. I can't remember exactly what we were getting, but under 70 or just about 70 in its paired configuration. And here it's the same behavior we've sort of seen at other chargers where it's 78 kilowatts. So maybe we wasted 5 to 10 minutes or so. Not a big deal, but I don't know. I just get, I saw this and I was like 50 kilowatt max. And I was like, we'll just charge up at the last charger. Doesn't really matter. We didn't leave too much time on the table. So what we need to do is to see where we want to go next. So let's go north up, 2D north up. Boom. Why is this not changing anything? Oh, maybe because it already is north up. That would make sense. And we want to go to... Nope, there's no way this is... Wait, am I all mixed up? Yeah, we are north up. Whoopsie daisies. Okay, so we want to go to Flagstaff down this road. And there is a it always shows you the highest power chargers first, which is kind of nice. 4 chargers. Check Electrify America's app or the charger display for energy, price, and fees. Okay, but we know it's an Electrify America. It's a Walmart. I need to get clothes anyway. Remember, I forgot my bag, so that will be convenient. It's 229 miles. Let's say start, go anyway, and it says we're not going to make it with 226 miles projected. Now, the big thing is we need to look at elevation and wind, and I'm not sure if this route is factoring, like I'm not sure if Rivian factors all of that in their route planning. It is nice that when you zoom out, it goes to north up automatically. That's what was going on before. Pretty smart, I have to say. This system is really, really good. What's this option? So that just zooms in on the route. That's pretty nice. That turns the lady on and off to tell you where to go. This is pretty intuitive, I have to say. So anyway, it's 220 miles. We'll get there by midnight. Oh my God, we are going to get to Phoenix so late. Lots of late nights. We're having too much fun in this thing. And let's hope that's a 24-hour Walmart. So that's the plan. I guess we'll just juice up until at least 90%, I think is probably what we'll do. We'll do a 90% charge and go, because it's going to take forever to charge above 90%. So let's just do a 90, and then we can basically plan to arrive there with as low state of charge as possible. If we have extra, we'll just drive faster. If we don't have enough, we'll just drive slower. That's the easiest way to increase range. And I do believe we do have an elevation gain, so we'll just be mindful of that heading closer into town. So just checked all of the stuff. We have an elevation gain of about 3,000 feet or so. Just depends, because Flagstaff is roughly at about 7,000, right? That's just from memory. We're about 4,000 here. We have a headwind. We have rain and thunder. Thunder does not impact range. So I say we do a 90% charge. That's another 10%. We'll throw it in conserve mode. I've been in conserve mode, and we'll just take it gently to start. The best thing with an EV, my recommendation on road trips, you guys know this if you've been following this channel, always start easy, build up a bit of buffer, and then you can drive faster when you have extra, you know, once you start getting 50, 60, 70% of the way through the trip. Once you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make it there with 20%, you can like hammer down. And it's going to be another late night, another brutal one, but we had a good time wheeling today. A lot of good fun wheeling. I do like how the green bar eventually shuts off from this blinking, because I think it's nice to not draw so much attention to yourself. So anyway, another free charger. How about that? Thanks, Utah. Pretty sweet. We're at 91%, doing 37 kilowatts. The charging curve at the top of this truck, not good, but they're, I think, utilizing a lot of the top batteries. Stop charging. Okay, let me tap my card. It's on my phone. 1 second. An alternate way to stop charging, of course, is to tap the card that you presented to start the session with. We'll remove the handle. We'll close the charging port. Well, it might rain, so we'll close it. Although this is staying unbelievably clean. I'm impressed. Maybe, at least on my truck, I would just leave that flap down most of the time on a road trip and then just keep it closed for daily driving. I do love how you can do that. I love how you can just get in, foot on the brake, throw it in drive. Everything operates just like a Tesla. High battery charge reduces regenerative braking, even makes the same chimes as a Tesla. It's like, wow, they got the best parts of that car and then put their own flair on it. You know, there's no question, in my opinion, the Tesla has one of the best UI experiences. Just get in, drive. You don't need to, you know, hit a start button or anything. Rivian got all that. And then they added some nice ambient lighting that the Teslas don't have. All right. We got 220 miles to go, 271 miles predicted. But again, we got to go up and we have a headwind. So we're going to be mindful. I think I'll turn the fog lights off. Not that it makes a huge difference. But we'll just, like I said, we always take it easy early on. That's the best move. Why don't we do a trip calculation reset here? Boom, because this is going to be a little bit of hypermiling action. But again, it's a one direction. We've already done the full range test on this vehicle. If you're curious how that works or how that went, let us know. That is such an odd charging location. And off we go. Just stopping here to admire the beautiful sky. Unfortunately, it doesn't really come up for you guys, but just insanely beautiful sky here. We're actually in the Navajo Nation. It's massive. Basically, it's a sovereign territory within the U.S. There's a whole bunch of them. I think something like 80 or 90,000 square miles of U.S. land is sort of the sovereign land, not necessarily just for the Navajo Nation, but it is the largest. But it's also a little bit of a sad story. There's no major metropolitan area nearby, has a 49% unemployment rate. Wow, the stars are crazy. The average household makes about $8,000 a year. And flipping it, and you actually can't even get a mortgage on a house here because banks won't finance finance a house that's on technically government public land. Anyway, pretty sad story. And yeah, but I will say there's some pretty massive towns here. They even have their own airport. They have their own bank. The Navajo is pretty huge, but some of these native lands do suffer. Anyway, just had to pull over, take a little bit of a break. It's getting late, but just to admire that sky is absolutely beautiful. Well, let's jump back in the Rivian and hammer down to Flagstaff. Flagstaff. We've arrived with 10% state of charge, 2.14 miles per kilowatt hour, used about 102 kilowatt hours. I've just pre-activated the charger with the app, so let's get it plugged in. Charging flat down, CCS handle. Ooh, a little beat up this one, but in we go. Well, we have another 350 amp limitation. Seems that all these ABBs are having it. They claim that the chargers are capable of doing 500 amps. I don't question that. They just seem to be software derated to not provide, you know, this truck the full 200 kilowatts it deserves. It's chilly out here. We ran efficient mode the whole time, just cruising nicely. 36 degrees or so. It does look like Walmart is open, so hopefully I can get some clothes in there. But just really stretching it, of course. Got to get down there, so we're doing just fine. Big climb on the way in, of course. Truck doesn't care. It's got plenty of power in conserve mode. It's definitely way slower when you have it in conserve mode, but like more than pretty much anything else too. Let's see how we're doing. Yep, same thing, same amperage limitation, 136 kilowatts. Man, this is super annoying. You would think that like all these chargers could just output what the truck could take, but unfortunately not. I took this to an EVgo station a couple times now and have gotten 180 kilowatts consistently, easily, without issue. And then you come and use these and they're limited. Well, I guess, you know, at least we're charging. It's not the end of the world. Like, this is not a huge deal. We're talking a few minute difference, but you guys know I like to max out charging. Anyway, I'm going to run in, see if I can do some shopping, and then, yeah, be the last charging stop on the way to Phoenix. So this is where we're going. It says it wants us to stay charging here for 27 minutes. We'll say okay, And so, yep, that's the plan. Finally, we got route planning to work. It says we'll do 27-minute charging. I wonder if it'll tell us when it thinks it's ready to go. That would be pretty good programming, the way it should be at least. And then it's going to get us there with 66 miles, which is actually pretty good because my guess is all of the chargers at the hotel will be full and the truck's going to sit all day tomorrow. So I'm going to charge a little bit extra today just so it doesn't sit completely dead, because that's not great for the battery pack. So I want to keep it, you know, somewhere between 20 and 50, well, 20 and 40%. Probably don't want to let it sit below 10% for a long period of time. Anyway, we'll just let her charge up here for a bit. We are now pretty much charged up to 75%, 74% state of charge. We've added 93 kilowatt hours in 46 minutes. I definitely think we tapered charging a little bit throughout this session. Anyway, we should be good to go. So let's stop our charging session and head towards Paradise Valley. There we go. Off we go then. Whoa, for the first time, really all trips since I-25, we have driver assistance available. It just did a little phantom brake there, probably for that truck. Probably thought it was coming over, but really competent lane centering here. Wow, this is pretty sweet. Does not do lane changes though. So I'm gonna take over, put it on, you know, make a lane change, and then it should be, available again to engage here in a second. Let's see. Well, no, maybe because of the exit. Nope. There we go. Sweet. So let's take a look at efficiency really quick, because that was a pretty hard blast over here. 2.22 miles per kilowatt hour. Ripping it pretty good. And again, we lost a lot of elevation, so I can only imagine what that would be on the return. We need to juice up pretty deep to head back to Flagstaff. Hopefully the hotel has a charger that I can charge up at between now and the next day or so, but obviously I'm not going to take one of the charging spots if the Hummer guys need it. I can figure it out on my own. And we have arrived here to Phoenix, Arizona, where there are Hummer EVs literally everywhere. These are all the launch edition. They're moon themed, so you can only get white. They are beefy. It's the first time I've really seen it out in the public. I've seen it in the flesh before, but wow, that makes the Rivian look tiny, doesn't it? Look at this here. The Rivian looks like a little toy compared to the other EV. Anyway, I don't think there's going to be any open chargers just because there's tons of Hummers around, but we'll go check. The lady at the front desk said that she thought they were open. We'll go find out. Look how many Hummers there are just everywhere. So these are all the chargers, and yeah, completely filled up by these things, to be expected. And nice, that Model 3 got a spot. I did bring my Tesla adapter just in case, but I'm gonna park this thing. I'm not gonna park it up front. Don't want to cause a stir. Don't want to piss GM off by having the Rivian covered in mud parked right up front. So I'll go stuff it in the back somewhere, and that should be a good thing. Good way to do it, I think. All right, well, definitely time for bed. Let's take a look. Leaving it with 25% state of charge. That's perfect. It'll be happy there. Got to do some video editing still, get some stuff uploaded. It's 2:29 a.m. We did lose an hour coming down here, which was nice. So, yep, got to get some work done for the next hour or so, and then definitely time for bed. I parked it in the back over here because this is just, I think, where they're... Basically, I don't want to draw any attention to the Rivian. It's the Hummer program. I just don't think it would be fair to GMC to cause a stir with this, so I just parked it back where the car chargers were. The event's going to happen on the other side of the building. These things just look beefy, don't they? So we got them charging up on some Clipper Creeks charging. Probably won't ever complete. 240 kilowatt hour gross. I think 212, 214 usable. Man, these things are freaking mega. That is just awesome. Oh, there is an open Tesla one here, though. I could have charged on that. Come on, Hummer, blocking a charger. Anyway, doesn't matter. Here for a couple nights. Let's do this thing. Going to bed. Well, good morning. You joined me. It's about 7:25 in the morning right now, and off to go get some clothes and some Starbucks before I drive the Hummer EV. You'll have to stay tuned to our sister channel for that, Out of Spec Reviews. I can't tell you anything about it right now, but I can tell you about it in a few weeks from the time I'm recording this. So really looking forward to sharing and experiencing that giant so-called super truck, right? From one 800 horsepower truck to one 1100 horsepower truck. I actually don't know how much power it makes. I gotta do some research. Been focused on the Rivian so much this week. I also need a haircut and haven't been able to get one. So it's just, you know, been strapped for time doing all the tests and road trips with this thing. As you guys see, everything takes longer when I do it. Well, anyway, thanks so much for joining along for this Out of Spec Motoring road trip. We'll have a part 3 or part 2. I'm not sure how many parts this series is going to be. Basically, I'm going to film the return trip back to Colorado as well, and maybe we'll do some fun things along the way. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.